This is a video presenting our findings on how social media affects a person's body image. We researched our topic using two different methods: a questionnaire using the Likert scale, and a group interview. This video will only be focusing on the group interviews that we conducted. We organized two group interviews, one with students, aged 16 to 17, and another with teachers. Surprisingly, or unsurprisingly depending on how you look at it, both groups, despite being part of the same ethnic group and religion, had different views in regards to social media and body image. The students mentioned how they use social media as a pastime and to help stress levels. But the teachers all agreed that social media is a waste of time. Whilst the majority of participants in both groups liked using social media, only the student group admitted that they were influenced by social media. A few participants from the older group agreed that, even though they see influencers promoting products on social media, they never felt the need to indulge in it. However, in the younger group, majority of participants said that they would want to buy something that they see being promoted on social media. An interesting point, however, is that both groups came to the conclusion that they wouldn't let social media affect their lives. The student group in particular said that, although they would want a life like those portrayed online, they wouldn't go out of their way for it. In regards to body image, the teacher group all unanimously agreed that social media does not affect their self-esteem. This was due to them feeling that they were above social media, their faith, and them being comfortable in their own bodies. However, most of the student group admitted that they were not comfortable with their body and that they had low self-esteem. This could be due to the fact that the students we interviewed reported their social media screen time to be around 60 hours a week, and an average adult screen time is around 16. This then leads to the conclusion that the more time spent on social media means the more unhappy and uncomfortable you are with yourself. When asked about whether a certain gender is targeted more by influencers on social media, the teacher group responded saying that both genders are targeted nowadays with the rise of male makeup artists. However, they all agreed on the idea that women are targeted more than men, as women are more pressurized to change themselves, including their personalities, in comparison to men. Women are also heavily sexualized in the media. The student group said that women are meant to feel more empowered by social media, but what is happening to women isn't empowering at all. The older group also built on this, saying that stripping clothes off isn't empowering, and men aren't made to do the same. One teacher mentioned that social media has accelerated the hypersexualization of our youth. The younger group also agreed with this, saying that girls and boys are being brought up in an era of social media and are being taught that it's okay to flaunt your body if you want to. An interesting point made by one of the adults was that whilst conversing with a fellow teacher, a completely different point of view had been made. This teacher said that if women have amazing bodies, why shouldn't they flaunt it? If girls want to do it, then they can do it if they want. When asked if social media can boost one's self-esteem rather than lower it, majority of the participants said yes. One teacher argued that it's the intent with which social media is used with that is important. She mentioned an Instagram user who uses makeup to cover birthmarks or scars, which can boost the self-esteem of those who have scars on their face. A student also said that the amount of likes and comments they get on a post boosts their self-esteem. However, one teacher argued that it is all superficial, because likes and comments from people who you don't even know shouldn't validate you. The people who should validate you are your family and close friends. When asked about how social media affects their relationships in real life, there were mixed opinions. Some students said that they can tell the difference between relationships in real life and online, and that they are different. However, some teachers said that social media has led them to spend less time with their family, to which a few students agreed. In conclusion, the students and teachers had differing opinions in regard to social media affecting body image. The students all concluded that social media has affected their self-perception in some way, whereas the teachers haven't been affected at all. We made sure that consent was given by all participants before starting the interview, which limits any ethical issues that could have arisen. Since this was a group interview, all of our data was qualitative. This allowed us to collate data that was rich in information and gave us more of an insight in different values and attitudes that would not have been given in a structured interview. Our sample of participants was also representative as we included people from different age groups. For example, one teacher said that she grew up without the internet, whereas another teacher said that she did. As this was a group interview, the participants didn't feel intimidated as they had other participants with them, giving them more confidence in answering the questions. They also had more control of the interview than us, and so could stop talking about a topic if they felt uncomfortable with it. However, there were still a few drawbacks. It was very hard to quantify the data, as there were a range of different opinions and beliefs. It was also quite time consuming to collate all of the data, as the interviews went on for a long time and the data from the interview had to be transcribed in order for us to collate it. There was also the ethical issue of the participants not wanting to answer personal questions. When we asked the students about how they felt about their body, they were hesitant to answer. Since the participants were also given free rein, a lot of irrelevant discussion took place which took focus away from the main point. However, if you remember from the start of the video, we also used a questionnaire to outweigh any drawbacks that this interview had. The focus group overcame the limitations of our questionnaires. For example, it produced qualitative data that was rich in data, whereas the questionnaire produced numerical data which was quantifiable, but did not provide specific reasons as to why the participants picked most answers. With the questionnaire there was no face-to-face contact with the participants, and so there was no opportunity to build a rapport with the participants. However, in our focus group we were able to physically and directly question the participants. This overcomes the problem with our questionnaires as direct contact is made with the participants, which makes them open up to us more. To an extent, our focus group overcame the artificiality of our questionnaire, as the participants are not told to passively write or tick their opinions, but express themselves to the experimenter or the participants with them. There was a low response rate in the questionnaire, which questions the reliability of our research. This was the opposite in our focus group, as participants were active in answering the questions. Through triangulation we were therefore able to overcome the issues from both survey methods, and thus making our results much more accurate. Thinking back to anything we could have improved, we would have changed the way we conducted the interview. We could have done this by cutting off any irrelevant conversation that was taking place, which would have reduced the amount of time taken for each interview. Overall, this study was insightful. We learned how social media affects different age groups' esteems, and even came up with a few ideas as to why there is such a stark difference between each group. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.